Another option that I mentioned ever so slightly a few times is the option to keep the money in beneficial form. What the heck does that mean? Beneficial form means it still remains in the name of the decedent, and the beneficiary gets to take the distributions. That's essentially what it means. It's not cashed in and it's not rolled over. It's in the name of the beneficiary. And even if the plan that it's in only gives you the lump sum option, remember, you can transfer the money to a friendly custodian that gives you this option. Very often we at FFP make the assumption we will take this option in almost every case because there's not a downside to it, generally speaking. So if we take a look, one of the downsides is you have to take required minimum distributions even if you're not 70 and a half. The first distribution on a beneficial IRA is required by December 31st of the year following the year of death. And that election has to be made by that point, otherwise you get the lump sum option. There's no other choice. So, taking the minimum required distribution is a little bit of a bother. Somebody has to make sure you're taking it out. Make sure you get the right amount, because the largest penalty in the tax code is the penalty for not taking your required minimum distribution. If you don't take the distribution, you're taxed, and it's not taxed. It's a penalty. And guess what?
You lose the money either way.
You still have to pay the tax. You still have to pay the tax. They took 50%. And guess what? The penalty is taxable. You have to pay tax on it. I mean, you've pulled the money out. It creates income. They just got it. But you still have to pay the tax on it. So you've heard stories, don't lose 70% or 80% to the IRS. That's one of the ways people lose money. Now, I will tell you this. Until recently, the IRS has been very forgiving for people who missed the first or second distribution. If you work with a qualified advisor and they file to do a corrective distribution, is what they call it, and you write a letter saying you'll remember to do them for the rest of your life, they have waived the penalty pretty much up to date. But rumor has it, they may not be so friendly as more and more people forget. Can you think of any reason, any number of reasons, why the IRS is going after the dollar coming out of retirement plans? Trillions of reasons, trillions and trillions of reasons. So we want to make sure if we're going to use beneficial form, we take the distribution. And it doesn't matter if you're a newborn baby or if you're 80 when you inherit it, you have to take a required distribution, and it's based on your life expectancy. Now, this is a chart. You can get it online anywhere. The chart says what is your life expectancy when you inherit. So you go to the first year following the year of death, you find your age on the chart. If you're a newborn, it's 82.4 years. To calculate your required minimum distribution, you take the balance on 12/31 of the year before, divide by that number. That's the first year calculation. The next year, you don't go to the next number, you just simply subtract 1, which is different than the way you do it when you're retired. Why have it the same? Why have consistency, right? It's a different calculation again. So what do those numbers look like? If you inherit $100,000 in a beneficial IRA, a 1-year-old, the distribution is $1,200. And it progresses higher and higher and higher. 30-year-old is $1,876, and a 50-year-old is $2,923. You have to take that minimum distribution, and then the next year you recalculate it based on your new life expectancy, which is 1 year less, right? 1 year less, divided by the prior year and balance. It's not really hard, it's a bother, and if you don't do this a lot, it's pretty easy to make a mistake. Mistakes are costly. What was the penalty? Just half, and pay tax.